Stop it.
What?
Glenn's now wearing his cowboy hat.
What?
As if you're...
He looks like a
Are you
real
saying that
Texan.
I'm all hat and no cattle?
I'm
Is that
saying
what
you're more Broadway than you are Texas, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're more likely to break out into a Broadway show tune than deep in the heart of Texas. That's for sure.
Definitely.
Have you ever seen that with jazz hands?
No, I have not.
Deep in the heart of Texas. Nothing better than that. Anyway, we have Rick Santorum on, who runs PatriotVoices.com, and he's quite concerned about the UN's Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and it may pass the Senate tomorrow. Hello, Rick. How are you?
I am doing great, Glenn. Great to hear your voice, and Merry Christmas to everybody there. You got me in the spirit there with the music this morning.
Merry Christmas. This agenda from the UN has already passed the Senate committee, and it looks like it's going to pass the full Senate for ratification?
Well, right now, we're holding on to the hope that 36 senators signed a letter saying that they would not vote for any treaties in the lame duck session. As you know, as you remember very, very well, a year ago, we dealt with the START Treaty and, 2 years ago, the START Treaty and that being passed in a lame duck session. I think there was sufficient blowback from conservative groups and Republicans generally that enough Republicans have signed the letters, if they stick to it, to keep them short of the 67 votes they need. They need, obviously, they have 3 more than they need. 33 votes would not be enough to stop the treaty, but they have 36 signatures. The greater concern is that a lot of those 36, or at least some of them, have suggested they might vote for this thing after the first of the year, and that would be devastating because this treaty does, and this is the most important point. Karen and I, as you know, Glenn, have a disabled little girl, and if there was anything in this treaty that I thought would help her or any people with disabilities in this country, or the Senate ratification would help anybody around the world, I would be for this. But it doesn't. It does absolutely no good or benefits no person with disability here in the United States having the Senate ratify this treaty. But it does, and the reason is our ratifying the treaty doesn't improve anybody else's life anywhere else. I mean, the idea that they're selling, just so you understand, Glenn, is that ratifying this treaty will not change disability laws in this country, which already meet or exceed the standards that are in this UN treaty. Will not improve their ability to go overseas and get better access to restaurants or curb cuts on the sidewalks. Because America passing a law doesn't impact Germany or Honduras or South Africa. And so this canard that they're putting forth on the American public is that somehow if the United States acts, people overseas will have better disability rights is just utterly nonsense. And that's the problem.
This really concerns me. Article 18, Section 2. Break this down and tell me what all of this means, because there's several things in here that are disturbing. Children with disabilities shall be registered immediately after birth. That sounds really Orwellian or quite honestly, fascistic from the Nazi days.
Yeah, you're pretty much labeled right out of the gate, and of course the idea that somehow or another the government's going to have a record of everybody who is disabled. Why? Why do we need that? I mean, these are things that historically in America, people with disabilities have their rights protected by their mom and dad who go out and articulate those rights. And then we have laws that generally apply to people with disabilities. But it's up to the parents to take responsibility now, not only with this section, but in the Section 7, which talks about the best interest of the child standard. So now the government is going to be in a position, according to this UN treaty, the government is going to decide what is in the best interest of your child, as opposed to disabilities laws in this country which say, no, it is the parents' prerogative to determine what is in the best interest of their child, and they are only removed of that prerogative if they have proven to be, through a judicial process, incapable of protecting their child's interest. Now the presumption is the state knows better than you. This just turns disability law with respect to children on its head. You throw on top of that, there's a Section 4, which talks about rights that the government owes citizens with people with disability, as you know, Glenn, our rights are negative rights in this country. It's things the government can't do to you. This now turns it on the head, which is these positive rights you've talked about many, many times on your program, where the Marxist, socialist / progressives, if you want to, that's the strain. They want to have the government in a position where they are extending rights, and that the government, therefore, by giving you rights, has obviously a lot more operational control of your lives.
One thing that I've been really worried about, first of all, devaluing life, that does this. It also tracks everybody. It also, I think, sets you up. You have the right to know and be cared for by your parents. I think that's a push for abortion, quite honestly, because if you are going to be held responsible, years later, that will discourage adoption and encourage abortion, I think. But one thing I'm really concerned about is education and homeschooling. Does this affect at all how we will this affect homeschooling at all?
And you talk to the folks who are the experts in homeschooling, the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, and they are the principal opponents of this treaty, and they've been sort of a voice in the wilderness early on because of its impact on homeschooling. They believe there are provisions that have been in previous UN conventions that expressly carve out the right of parents to have the ability to decide what's best to educate their children. Those are missing from this when it comes to disabled children. And as I mentioned before, combine that, the fact that there's no language protecting the parents' rights, combine that with Section 7, which says that the state is the one who's going to determine what's in the best interest of your child. It's pretty clear that the Individuals Disability Education Act (IDEA) will be turned on its head, and parents will lose not just their right with disabled children, but arguably you can make the broader application.
And this is not the state as the federal government. This is the United Nations. We're signing on to a new United Nations treaty and taking more sovereignty from the United States and the American citizens.
There will be an international body that will be charged and is charged already with enforcing this, and the United States will have to go and make their case that we are in fact complying. I mean, the big joke in this whole thing is John Kerry, who's the principal advocate of this, John McCain, and others have said, this will have no impact. We don't have to do anything here in America because we already comply. Well, first off, we don't comply with some of these more radical elements of this treaty, but what we're now going to be forced to do, if you look at, again, Section 4, one of the subsections, says that it is the obligation of any state, or state being in this case the federal government, that adopts this treaty to pass laws and regulations that are compliant. Who's going to oversee that? There will be a board. There will be a committee within the United Nations that does that, and we are going to have to make our case to the UN that we are complying with this treaty. And the answer and what the proponents say is, we won't have to do that. Yeah, we can just ignore that. Well, if they're going to ignore it, why pass it? I mean, if the point is that we aren't going to have to do this.
The same thing could be asked.
What benefit for us to do it?
The same thing could be asked of the administration. Why would you leave a section in there where you could, in the Homeland Defense bill that he signed? I'm trying to remember the name of it. The NDAA, where you can scoop up people and hold them without trial. You can take them without warrant. You don't have to charge them. And the president says, we'll never do that. Then why are you passing it?
Yeah. Just because it's there doesn't mean we're going to do it.
Then why pass it?
In this case, you have some ability with our political system to put pressure on a president not to do so. Here,
nothing.
We have no ability to impact what the United Nations is going to attempt to do to us. And of course, we are continually cited in this country in the United Nations for egregious acts of not treating our people, with the dignity that the UN would like to see, which is, not pervasive abortions and things like that, which they would like to see.
All right, here's a number I want you to call, 202-224-3121, 202-224-3121. As a former senator, what do people call and say? When they call the Senate switchboard, what do they say?
That they need to oppose, you're calling to oppose it's CRPD, Convention on the Rights with People with Disabilities, but the term is just CRPD. Ask their senator, call your senator. That's the most important thing you can do. I mean, calling other senators from other states, frankly, most senators don't pay attention to that. You got to call your senators. There's 2 of them. Call them both. Ask them to oppose the CRPD, that this will do nothing to help people with disabilities in this country or overseas, and it will undermine our sovereignty and put the United States in a very precarious position, not just on disability of people with disabilities, but broader than that. And if they want to sign our petition, they can go to my website, or they can text Patriots to 67463, and we will get those petition to members of Congress.
All right, patriotvoices.com. Rick, thanks.
My
We'll
pleasure.
talk again,
Thanks,
my friend.
Glenn.
Bye-bye.
That's absurd.
Absurd.
That's I mean, Bob Costas is smarter than that. That's just knee-jerk, liberal reaction, total emotionalism. It's pathetic. It's not even logical. You cannot say that they'd both be alive today if he didn't have a gun. He could have killed her and himself in multiple different ways, and people do it every day.
Let me tell you something. If it wasn't for dogs, Michael Vick wouldn't have had a problem.
It's true.
We can just get rid of all of the dogs.
Yeah.
Well, he chained them up with a rope or whatever.
If it
hung
wasn't
them.
for
Rope.
dogs and rope,
Yeah,
Michael
wow.
Vick wouldn't have had a problem.
That's profound, Glenn.
That
Thank
is-
you.
that's
I
profound.
thought so. I thought so. If it wasn't for gambling, Pete Rose would be in the Hall of Fame today.
Yes, that's true.
If we could just ban all gambling.
You
Well,
really
it's not a
wait
bad
a minute.
idea, actually.
We've done that.
Yeah.
Oh wow, and he still is gambling.
Oh, that's strange,
That's
isn't it?
weird.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Wait a minute. Something's gone wrong there.
Well, and England has actually banned guns. They have very, very strict gun control laws.
Yes.
And
even their cops don't carry guns.
right after passing those laws, gun crime went up 300%.
Wait a minute. But they passed the laws.
Yeah, they did. They passed the laws, and then the gun crime went up 300%. The guns don't care if they're legal or not. Wait, no, it's not the guns after all. It's the criminals and the people who are willing to use them, because it's also illegal to kill people. I don't know if you know that, and people do it anyway. They do it
murder
anyway.
has been banned.
It
That's
has been
confirmed.
banned.
We really are living in a time when things just don't make sense anymore. Where everything, if you're 40 and above, nothing makes sense. What you were told was true is no longer true. What you think is reasonable is no longer reasonable. I don't think so. I believe it's either the bathtub. I think bathtub's number 2 to
We should ban bathtubs.
To what?
They're not-
dishwater. Dishwashers.
Dishwasher.
Dishwasher.
How does a
I
dishwasher?
believe dishwasher is the most dangerous. That's what it is. It's the most dangerous appliance in the house
Okay.
How?
How does that hurt people?
How does that?
because people leave it open.
Yeah.
And they put their forks and knives with the points up.
Yeah, and impale
and
themselves on them?
And they fall
Stop it.
into the dishwasher.
No
Swear to
way.
you.
Stop it.
It is the most dangerous appliance in the house.
Kids climb up there too, get their feet stuck
Yeah,
into that.
and it's
that's not gonna-
really wildly dangerous.
Really?
I think we should ban all dishwashers. Ban them.
Yeah.
They're
I mean, if
dangerous.
this is happening, we must.
Well, let's do it real
We
quick
must.
here.
Let's do it
Let's
real
see our
quick. You have
current dishwasher
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah. Just read it as we go. We'll
Okay.
just fill it in.
Our current dishwasher culture, Glenn Beck wrote, ensures that more and more dishwashing will
Yeah.
end in the ultimate tragedy. Dishwashers do not enhance our safety.
No,
they don't.
They
don't.
exacerbate our laziness.
Laziness.
Yes.
They tempt us to
not have clean, sparkling clean dishes because you get that
Film.
spotted
unsanitary
film.
conditions.
Yeah.
Yes.
They bait us into bending down all the time because they're on the ground
And
almost.
tripping. And tripping.
In the coming days, Bob Costas' actions and the possible connection to dishwashers will be analyzed. But here, wrote Glenn Beck, is what I believe. If Bob Costas didn't possess a dishwasher, he and Bill Johannenspin-Jurgen-Bergenturn would both be alive
Well,
today.
Bob, in this scenario, Bob actually crawled into the dishwasher, closed it, and killed himself in it.
Oh, my.
Here's our. And then I didn't see Bill. I think he was over. He was over by the pool, thinking, pools can kill people. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll just jump into the pool. Maybe I'll have another drink, and I won't be able to swim again.
But then Bob Costas showed up and encouraged a pool ban.
Right,
Right,
because
and they covered it up
They
really
covered
quick.
it up quickly.
Yeah.
They just add, You just add quick cement in it, and then just mix it up somehow or another.
That's
It's
what they
great.
should do to all pools. There's too many.
Well, Bob
There's-
Costas.